Now, work with me here, because I know some of you right now are saying, okay, he's been chatting for about 10 minutes or so. Where do I make money out of this? Well, you make money out of it because you understand what your purpose is. Why are you doing this? We have to have a purpose for doing this, a purpose for getting up. And interestingly, I read this in Scott Greenberg's book. He's got a whole chapter in here saying you're never too old to have a purpose. Let me take that one step further. If you don't have a purpose, you're going to get old real quick. If you don't know where you're going and what you're trying to achieve, then every day it's just Groundhog Day. It's the same thing, it's the same thing, the same thing. And I know that some of you have felt like that, because I felt like that for 10 years as a business owner. Here's how I put it together. Sounds really simple. I'm not a big one of writing big plans that I don't read. Years ago I'd write 90-page business plans and never read them again. Never refer to them, never look at them. I'm sure you guys have done that too. Even in a franchise system, hand on your heart, how many of you have read the operations manual, put it in a drawer, and never looked at it again? I know. I did exactly the same thing. So I decided if I'm going to make a personal plan, a personal vision, it's going to be simple. Here's how it works for me. And this is, again, just work with me for 5 minutes or so. I sat down and I said, well, what do I want out of life? What's important just to me? This is not me and my spouse, this is just me. So if you're sitting here with your spouse or significant other, just don't look at them for a minute, because you've got to get yourself right first. And for those of you that flew here, you would have heard that on the plane. The flight attendant would have said to you, in the event of an emergency, put your oxygen mask on first and then help others. That's life. That's totally life. Because if you're not square, you can't possibly help anybody else. That's not selfish, that's just common sense. You've got to have yourself together. So what do I want to be? What do I want to represent? What are the things that are going to be important to me? Now, this is challenging because this is where we write the nice words down. I want to live with integrity. I want to live a full life. I want to make sure I cater for all those sort of things that are platitudes of greatness, but not necessarily really heartfelt. I want you to really look introspectively at this. So I'll give you an example. I did a conference with Remax Real Estate with their top 1% of their performers a few months back. There was a young guy in the audience, about 30 years of age. This guy makes $1 million a year. He's just a rock star. And I'm going through this process. It's a small group. There's only about 50 of us. And I'm saying, what do you want out of life? What's your purpose? What do you want to represent? And this guy, Andrew, puts his hand up and he said, I'm not sure what you mean, Troy. I said, well, think of this. You're in the casket. You're at the front of the room and the congregation is walking past you saying nice things about you. What would you want them to say? And he thought about it for a tick. He said, I think I'd like him to say, look, he's still moving. He didn't quite get it. And it is hard because it's introspective. You've got to really look deep into your heart to find out what you really want out of life.